Welcome back to Morning Sports Talk with Nick and Kev. Once again, it's 9 o'clock, so it's time for the Sports Talk portion of our show. Hope you enjoyed the music part. Once again, we're going to have a great show on tap for you today. We've got football all day, NCAA, NFL, everything about the show is going to be about football. Today we've got an extremely special guest. We're happy to welcome Nick Polak to the show as he's going to discuss with us the Penn State scandal. He's on campus. He's a student there, an undergraduate. He goes to all the football games, so he's right in the middle of the thick of things right now at Penn State, and it's great to have you on the show, Nick.
What's up, Kev? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem, Nick. Thanks for joining the show today. Nick, I know it's a tough time going on at Penn State right now. Can you give us just a little bit of your insight on what campus is like right now?
It's really overall, it's just sadness, frustration, disappointment. Everyone, liken it to finding out Santa Claus isn't real. It's really a feeling like that. Everyone's just unbelievably disappointed, embarrassed. I mean, it's really just a somber mood everywhere.
Are people's opinion of Lou Piniella changing after this allegations?
I'm sorry, what? Couldn't catch that.
Are people's opinions of Joe Paterno changing after these allegations?
It's hard to say because I mean, last night there was a riot / pep rally, whatever you want to call it, outside downtown. Moved to Old Main, then moved to out in front of the Joe Paterno statue at the football game, and I think the general consensus for him is that everyone still loves him. I mean, this is my opinion as well. I still love him. Still a great role model. Always will be. But he made a mistake, and something needs to happen because whether he followed his direct orders, I guess, legally, that may be true, but morally, the general consensus is that he did not do enough.
Just wondering, so is there a consensus around campus? I don't know. I mean, this is kind of how I saw what your comments just stated, that you think Joe Paterno needs to step down at some point, whether it be at the end of his contract, which is up this year, or right now. I mean, I think it would be too fast to make him resign. I think it's got to be up to Paterno to decide what the right thing is to do. But do you think at some point he needs to step down in the near future?
Yeah, I mean, for looking for what the students think about that, it's pretty much split all over, whether he should be fired today, after Saturday, at the end of the season. There's a lot of different opinions on that. I personally believe that he should be asked to retire at the end of the season when his contract obviously asks to do so, because I think that the current players of the Penn State football team have absolutely nothing involved in this situation at all whatsoever. And with the season they're having, I think they deserve to have their coach for the last, hopefully, 5 games of the season. And I truly think it comes down to it's unfair to them, and I think they should be allowed to have their coach.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar into the Ohio State scandal, in that the players who are on the team now had nothing to do with it, but they're being penalized. And I think right now, if Penn State were to take Joe Paterno out, I think you're right. I think it would be penalizing the kids on the current team too much. I think that's what you're basically trying to say.
Yeah, exactly.
But do you think that maybe it's just time to just clear house and just get rid of everyone who was involved in the program at the time of the scandal? Do you think that maybe that's just the best thing for the program?
Absolutely. I think it's the best thing for the school and the program. I believe that everyone from our president down needs to be fired, and there needs to be a clean slate, because anyone who had any part in this can't stay as a part of Penn State, because it's not what we stand for, not what the school stands for, and it's not right to have them all there. There's a meeting of the Penn State executive board. I believe there's one today, and there's also one on Friday, and it's expected that it's going to be announced that our president is being fired either today or Friday, and I believe that's completely right, because everything that Tim Curley and Gary Schultz knew and are being charged with perjury for, that's everything that our president knew, and I don't see how it can be right that he stays and they go.
I think it's hard to believe that your president, President Spainer, right? Graham Spainer, right?
Graham
yeah,
Spainer.
Okay, yeah, Graham Spainer. I think it's hard to believe that he had no knowledge of anything that was going on with these allegations, and I agree with you 100%. If I were in the university's position of power, I would absolutely clean house right now. But I'm just wondering, What were your did you have any contact? I know Sandusky had an office on campus. Did you ever see him on campus or anything like that?
I'd never seen him, and to be completely honest, I never knew who he even was until Sunday.
Okay, yeah. I mean, well, he resigned or he was terminated as defensive coordinator, I think 10 years ago. So obviously that was a while ago.
He retired after the '99 season.
Yeah. And I mean, that's also what's. Do you believe that his firing or his resignation coincided as just a coincidence, or do you think that had something to do with why he wasn't retained as a defensive coordinator?
I'm not. I really don't know. I mean, one possible thing you could say is that in the meeting that Sandusky had with Joe Pa before he announced his retirement, where Joe Pa reportedly just told him that he'll never be a head coach at Penn State. It's sad to think about that it's a possibility, but you definitely have to consider the fact that Joe may have obviously known what was going on and knew he couldn't make him head coach for that reason. But yeah, that's tough to think about.
Yeah, Joe Paterno, he's been like known to be kind of like a not necessarily a bully, but he's had like a mean streak over his career. Do you think this is maybe just like him not reporting or not doing the morally right thing? Do you think this is a side of Joe Paterno that we just don't know, or do you think this is just a case of bad judgment?
If I had to pick one, I would say bad judgment. While it's not a good argument, but you have to take into account that he does come from a different time. But I don't believe that, so I'm going to let that go. But it's really hard to say. I mean, he's a great man. He's built State College from the ground up.
I mean, I think that's the big point. You're right. I think people need to know that, like you said, he built that town. Like, I visited State College once or twice. It's out in the middle of nowhere. If it weren't for Penn State football, that town would have absolutely nothing.
Exactly. What it comes down to is State College is Penn State. Penn State is football. Football is Joe Paterno. Joe Paterno is the one that made this university what it is. He's the one that made everything in this area what it is. And while it's hard to see how someone who's done so much good could make a mistake like that, but that's what we'll find out as the case progresses.
Yeah, but they've been trying to basically get rid of him. Not get rid of him, but he's been like kind of asked to step down for some years now, and he's he kind of rejected to do so, and he's like the way they're handling everything right now is just they're like canceling press conferences. They're they're basically lying and everything. Do you think that the way that the school is handling this is just making this even worse than actually? Well, I mean, it's definitely terrible, but do you think that the way the school is just like completely mishandling this is affecting basically how his legacy?
Well, first off, everything the school has been doing to handle this has been completely wrong from the start. They've been absolutely everything wrong.
Just one quick follow-up to that, though. Do you agree with them canceling the press conference yesterday? Yes. I just want to get your thoughts on that as well.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
The thing is, right now across the country, if you turn on the TV and just turn on ESPN for a minute without knowing anything about the situation, turn it on, you would think that you wouldn't know anything about Jerry Sandusky. All you would think is that Joe Pa lied, and that's what everyone is upset about, and that's what the case is about. The fact of the matter, Joe Pa is while he's certainly involved in this just as much as the 5 other adults that had contact in this case, I believe that out of him, Mike McQuarrie, the graduate assistant, Tim Curley, Gary Schultz, and Graham Spanier, he is the least accountable of those 5 people, seeing as how he wasn't directly in charge of Sandusky at the time, and he wasn't the eyewitness. But yeah, I believe that.
No, keep going. Keep going.
I mean, I feel like Graham Spanier canceling Joe's press conference is just him being able to hide, him and the administration being able to hide behind Joe even more, because as long as he's not talking, that's all anyone is going to talk about. And I think that for not only his sake, for the students' sake, for everyone who believes in him sake, they need to be able to hear his side and why he didn't call the police.
All right, once again, we're talking to Nick Polak on HPU Radio The Sound, Morning Sports Talk with Nick and Kev. Nick, we've got about 2 minutes left. I just want to get your last minute, first of all, your overall reaction, just sum it all up for us, and then also, is there anything planned for this week's Big Ten game versus Nebraska? I mean, the lost part in this is that Penn State is right in the running for a Rose Bowl bid right now, as they could win the Big Ten, I think they're 8-1 on the season, correct me if I'm wrong on that. But they have a great chance at going to a Rose Bowl, and now all this happens. So just give me your last-minute reactions on anything you want to say and just what's planned for this week's game versus Nebraska.
Well, I guess for when I first found out about this, I originally just saw former Penn State coach indicted. I didn't think much of it. I was like, oh, well, that kind of sucks. I mean, and then as more of the case unfolded, found out Joe Pond, everyone else who was involved, I really just felt the feeling I just got was just disappointment, embarrassment. I just felt overall sadness. Like for the first few days, or well, I guess Monday, it really, like, my friends and I all agreed. It felt like we did something wrong. Like, you just have that in your stomach to have someone so pure in your university be torn down so easily. But as for the game, I know there's multiple Facebook groups trying to sort of blue out for the student section, because blue is the color of stopping child abuse. And there's a candlelight vigil planned for the victims to be in front of Old Main, I believe, on Friday. I'm not sure if there's been a lot of opposition to that, because people are saying you shouldn't have a candlelight vigil for people who are still alive, do something else. But so I'm not sure what's going down with that, but something is going to happen there. I mean, I'll be participating in the blue out. I think that's a good idea. Besides that, I mean, just watching through, Twitter being so important to that, just watching through Twitter, seeing all the players' reactions, most of them have been handling it really well, specifically our quarterback, Matt McGloin. He's been being a true leader, really stepping up. You can tell he's really making his best effort to make sure everyone's still focused on the game and nothing but the game. And I personally think that we're going to go out and put up 30 points in Nebraska. I think our team is really pumped up and ready to go. I think it's going to be our best game of the season. They want to prove that they can still do what they need to do.
One final question: do you think there will be any? I know obviously there will be some protests at the game, but do you think anybody is going to boycott going to Penn State football games for the rest of the season?
No, I highly doubt it. If anything, I see more people coming to the game on Saturday than usual. I mean, if only for the sheer fact that people know it's going to be Joe Pa's last home game. Whether or not however you assess his innocence or guilt in the situation, it's still going to be Joe Pa's last home game. And I think that alone will drive up the attendance. But other than that, I think the main thing people are trying to remember is that we need to go to the games to support these kids that are on the team. They did nothing wrong, and they still need our support in every way.
Yep, I completely agree, Nick. Thanks for joining us once again. We're going to be right back. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back. Thanks, Nick, once again.
Yep, no problem.